All right. All right, so let's just get into it then.
Right on.
Here we go. What's up, Care Factor Nation? It's Rich Maliki here, Season 2, Episode 9, and we have a special guest here, Josh Zolin, CEO, President, Windy City Equipment. There he is. Today we are here for a couple of reasons. One being that Josh just put out an amazing book for the trades, Blue is the New White, so we're going to be talking about that, promoting that book. And we're just also going to be promoting the trades in general through his vision in this book, and hopefully inspire someone that needs to hear this right now. So, Josh, why don't we just start off with you introducing yourself and letting everybody know who you are?
Absolutely. Thanks, Rich. Appreciate you having me on. As always, what's up, Internet? As they say, as you say. I appreciate you having me on the show. I am the CEO of Windy City Equipment Service here in Phoenix, Arizona, Phoenix and Tucson. But that is, I live and die by the trades, man. It wasn't always that way, but since coming into the industry, I couldn't help but realize the opportunity that exists here, and I saw no reason why I shouldn't be the one to share it with the world among people like you, and there's a couple other folks out there that are huge advocates as well. But needed to throw my hat in that ring.
Yeah, and so we're here today, as I mentioned. We have this right here. Blue is the New White. This is the hardcover copy right here, and we can find that on Amazon, of course. And anywhere else can we find it, or is it just Amazon right now?
Right now, it's just on Amazon.
Okay.
We just released the distribution of the hardcover the other day, so hardcover will appear on Amazon, and then you
Nice.
can, in essence, go in any bookstore and say, hey, I want to order this book, and then be able to, but I'm not going to put it on the shelves. I'm not that big of a deal yet.
That's right. Yeah, no, hey, listen, Amazon is as big as it gets anyway, so that's where you want to be. All right, so listen, let's dive in. So I did go through the book. I think it's pretty great for anybody that had any questions about anything involving the trades. So in the intro, you talk a little bit about success isn't measured by a degree. So and right out of the gate, you gave 3 examples of young students who all have different life circumstances. We got Matt, Zach, and Sam, because those 3 people may be listening that need to hear this. So let's talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So basically, to come up with those characters, I took a little bit of each one of my egos that I had in high school, and I separated them out into 3 different people. You got Matt, who's just he's an average student, helping out around the house, lives with a single parent, and he does what he can to help make ends meet, and but he knows he's not going to have enough money for college, doesn't want to get himself into a big hole of debt before he starts his career, and he's just, quite frankly, doesn't have enough A's to get a scholarship, so he's wondering what he's going to do after high school. And then we got Zach, and Zach's kind of he's a rebel. He hates school with a fiery passion. He just absolutely hates it. He has no clue what he wants to do. All he knows is that he wants to succeed, right? And yeah, that's right. That was a big part of my high school ego, And his parents are pushing him to go because obviously they want what's best and they think they know what's best. But he always questions what's best.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
And then you got Sam, Samantha, tried to make sure I had a woman in there, a girl in there to because that's part of what the book talks about as well, right? Is women in the trades.
Absolutely.
But she is something of a rebel, and she likes proving people wrong. She likes making people laugh. She doesn't like to sit still. And she just, her parents, again, are pushing her towards business school because that's the route that her dad took, and he's a successful corporate bigwig. But she's different. She likes to blaze her own trail, and do things her own way. So those are the three people that basically this book speaks to.
Yeah, and it's I'm hoping that maybe there's a high school student out there or someone that's in college and didn't pick their major yet because they're just going to figure it out and all that stuff. Maybe someone's listening and understands that, you're not alone, and there's an entire industry or industries out there that you don't even know about, that you're about to learn about. So we'll get into it here. So the problem with college, we're talking, so much talk about college and alternatives to college, and again, I know both of us, we're not here to bash college if that's the route you want to take, right? But I think as you mentioned a lot too, college is just kind of just pushed on you through guidance counselors and professors and parents because you're never going to be anything without that degree. So listen, we know those degrees, it's expensive, and as you mentioned in the book as well, it doesn't guarantee anything because a lot of the people that are going to get those degrees are going to come out of college and not even be in the field that they were studying for. So let's dive into the problem with college. And it says here, coursework does not prepare you for the actual work either. Let's dive into a little bit of the problem with college today.
Yeah, absolutely. And you hit the nail on the head. And that's really the point I was trying to get across is that right now we live in an age where the clear measure of success is a college education. And I think we're starting to see a little bit of a shift in different industries, different areas as to, what that means. But I heard it all through high school. I'm sure you heard it through high school. I had counselors coming to me because I was a good enough student, right? I mean, I didn't fail. I wasn't the best student. When I went to class, I actually did well. But my counselors would pull me in towards the latter years of high school and say, hey, I know you're very vocal about not going to college, and we think you're making a huge mistake, and we think you should reconsider, and this and that. And I went back and forth. I was an 18-year-old kid, just like every 18-year-old kid out there. I didn't know really what was best for me. I knew I wanted to be successful, and I wasn't convinced that college could give me that, could guarantee me that, and it doesn't. I mean, we look at college like this. It's this necessity. What are kids told when they say they're not sure if they want to go to college? They're told, "Oh, that's all right. Just take the core classes. You'll figure it out while you're there." Meanwhile, they're spending thousands upon thousands of dollars taking these core classes that they don't know what it's going to relate to for their future. They don't know if they need it. They don't know any of this, and they're being told to figure it out. So why not learn a trade? Figure out what you want to do. College is always going to be there. You know what I mean?
Very true.
And the problems. I mean, we could get into the problems. I could spend 2 hours talking about problems.
Yeah.
But the basic problem is, right, that college is expensive. Average tuition, room, board, books for an in-state college is approximately $25,000 a year. So you're talking about $100,000 over the course of a 4-year education.
If they do it in 4 years.
If they do it in 4 years, which statistically, statistics show that it takes an average of 6 years to graduate college if they graduate. I think it was a study in 2010 that found that 62% of college graduates actually had a job that required college. And just 27% of college graduates had a job that was even closely related to their major. So, I mean, there's a lot of statistics out there that, are easily hidden, because the perception these days is that college equals success.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. But that's a great segue into chapter 1 here, because I wanted to talk about the skilled trades. And when I was going through, reading the book, the negative perception of the trades.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been this way a long time, and I do feel like there might be a little shift coming, but we have to keep talking about it like we are right now. Why is there a negative perception, and how do we change it?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked, because I did a lot of research into this, because the bottom line is we know that there's a skilled trades gap, and we're trying to figure it out. Everyone who knows about it is trying to figure out what the culprit is. Why is this happening? The best thing that I could come up with is during the 60s and 70s, colleges started to make a huge push, for people to get a continuing education after high school, because, it's supply and demand, right? Everybody wanted to employ somebody that had a college degree. So in that time, that was actually good advice. You go to college, you get that degree, somebody really wants you to work for them, and it's job security, right? But at the same time, this push was so big, right, that Hollywood got its hands on it. And so we had media portrayals of tradespeople reinforcing these negative stereotypes. dumb mechanics like I referenced in the book Putty from Seinfeld, or how about Mike
Yeah.
Rowe with his, reference to the poster that he saw in his high school, work smart, not hard, you know?
Yes.
And I mean, this is a good test because this is what I tell everyone. Close your eyes and picture a plumber. What do you see? And that's really your answer, right? What do you see? You see a
Mm.
guy in maybe a jumpsuit or jeans hanging halfway down his ass, or
Yeah, right.
whatever it is, with a monkey wrench in one hand and grease can in the other. And it's just that's the furthest thing from reality. That's I don't know.
Yeah,
That's the best way I can put it.
it's true. Yeah. Yeah, because there's that almost like it where people in the trades are second-rate citizens almost.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. When you close your eyes, that's kind of what you see, and like you said, it is so much further from the truth because these are some of the most intelligent people on the planet to be able to do what they do, and Mike Rowe made the comment. I posted a lot. We are the ones that do the jobs to make civilized lives possible, and good luck trying to find someone that's going to be doing this 20 years from now if we don't start talking about it, and you don't, and guys like you putting out stuff like this to bring it to the forefront. Yeah. So and I'm going chapter by chapter here, by the way. So
Sure.
Chapter 2, money, money, money. So we did talk about how the way most measure success, as you say in the book, how will someone make a lot of money in the trades? Let's talk on some of these points for the money, money, money.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's a lot involved in this that is easily overlooked, right? And this is a lot of why people I think get their statistics messed up. But first, before you even look at how much money you can make in the trades, you need to look at how much money you can save by going the trade route, right? And I'm not
Perfect.
going to go through the whole graph and tables that I have in the book, but there's a lot of statistics in there that show, basically in a nutshell, what you're going to spend on college, what you're going to take out in student loans according to the national average, how much a year you're going to pay for those student loans, right? And the average salary you can expect to make after you graduate college. And then it takes that and it compares it to the trades route, either as an apprenticeship or trade school. Both have their advantages and disadvantages, but both, if that's the route that you deem can make you successful, are better, cheaper than a college education, and the ROI is just, I mean, it's phenomenal. So
Oh yeah.
before anyone even gets into how much technicians make or people in the trades make, they have to first look at how much they can save by going that route.
Yeah, great point. When I talked to the two young guys that I hired here that are training, they're talking about all their friends that are going to college and coming out of pocket and getting financial aid and do whatever they have to do. Meanwhile, these guys are training, putting money in their pocket, saving. They're living at home, and they're just in 4 or 5 years, when everyone else is going to have to pay down that 100 to 150,000, they might have saved that much just by living at home, training,
That's right.
and working. So yeah, I mean, forget about what you're going to make. Remember, understand what you're going to save. Going into life without debt. I mean, that's huge.
Yep. And if anybody out there wants just a little nutshell of a little piece of one of those tables, it's you have to look at it like this. Coming out of college, comparing what the student loans are and how much is actually taken out, you can expect to be somewhere around 40 grand in debt when you leave college, starting your career. So starting out in the workforce, basically your first real job, right? You're 40 grand in the hole. Whereas if you would have spent those same 4 years working in a trade, you could expect somewhere around $130,000 in your pocket. Now, of course, doesn't mean you saved all of it. You're between 18 and 21 years old. I'm sure some of it, is spent in the bars or whatever. But
Exactly.
The point is the same, right?
Yeah, exactly. So we moving along into chapter 3, more than money. First up is people, the lifeblood of any business. The 22-year-old kid up against that certain customer, which was you, right?
Yep.
You were that 22-year-old kid up against this customer. with an oven that's twice as much as his car. Um, and let's talk a little bit about that situation.
Yeah, I remember that situation vividly, which is ultimately why I used it for the book, because I remember
Hmm.
very few things over the past 10 years. But that was definitely that was one of them. I was just getting my start. My dad taught me the ropes and how to be a tech. I was still in training, so I knew a little bit, and this was the first instance where I really got to practice it by myself. My dad was busy. This
Hmm.
customer needed his equipment up and running. I mean, I think it was a Friday night or Saturday night, something like that. And so, he called and my dad said, I can't make it, but I can send my son. And the guy, I mean, immediately, the guy was like, I don't know, I know you, but I don't know your kid. And, so, all right, fine, just send him. So, yeah, I did. I went out there. I mean, it was simple, right? It was a gas leak and a hose. Replaced the quick disconnect, the gas hose, and he was off and running. But that
Yeah.
skepticism was there because number one, I was young, and
Yeah.
number two, he just wasn't familiar with me, and it terrified him because that piece of equipment was so expensive. But
Hmm.
even more, even more than how expensive it was what it could generate for him on that Friday night, right? He needed it up and running, so
Yes.
I got the opportunity, took it, ran with it, and I mean the gratitude that came over his face, I'll never forget it. I mean his perception of me and the business and what we do, everything. It just was like black and white. It was like somebody opened his eyes, and he expressed this overwhelming gratitude. Thank you so much. No problem. And I'm like, all right, cool, sign here.
Yeah.
And it was just a great feeling. It never left me.
Yeah, that's part of the thing. So, and you could find this on page 71 of Blue is the New White, and starting on page 71. But it's more than money. So, talking about benefits, travel, unique experiences, learn skills, freedom. There's so much more. Like you said, this and even the reward of this customer of yours that you saved the day, you saved the weekend, and now he was able to provide for his customer and his family and his employees. Let's talk a little bit more about how it's so much more than the money.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm glad you asked because that's another perception I think that we battle too. Because typically, you know, um, people view technicians as just constantly working, which is true in some cases, and in most cases, and especially at the start of your career, you got to work, 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 work. But the nature of the business that we're in, the more valuable you are, the faster you can do things, the more you can provide for the company that you're working for, or the company that you've started, or whatever the situation, the more freedom you'll ultimately have down the road. I say in the book, and I
Mhm.
genuinely mean this, if you have an aversion to hard work, trades or not, you're on your way to failure. I mean, and
Mhm.
that's the only way to put it. Some work
100%.
some work is physical, right? Some work is not. Some work's mental, but hard work is a part of it. Um,
Yeah.
but what you're working toward is work-life balance. Again, the more valuable you become, the more you can control, your schedule and things like that. And especially with what we're seeing now, right? I mean, vacation time and PTO and stuff like that for technicians is through
Yeah.
the roof right now because
Yes.
it's one of the benefits, not to
Yeah.
mention all the health insurances, 401ks. I mean, the benefits packages in the trades are unmatched.
Yeah. I mean, like you said, you eventually can write your own ticket if you're good and
Hmm.
you're willing to work and come in every day and do what you need to do to get the customer up and running, to support your team, your everybody around you. Talk about the PTO and the vacation and all that. I mean, the freedom is there because if you're that good and you're producing numbers, it's no problem to give those techs an extra week or two to go do what they want. Because they've already produced. And
Absolutely.
yeah,
And they're
yeah,
deserving. They're deserving of it. I mean, they could
yes,
because they can balance themselves. And that's what people need to understand is that,
hmm,
look, yeah, you may put in 40, 50, 60, 70 hours in a week, if the work is there and it calls for it, but then, that means that I mean, your week off when the phone doesn't ring at all is completely 1000% justified.
yeah, 100%, 100%. Yeah, they deserve everything they get. Um, And rolling into chapter 4, we talk now. There might be one of those guys or gals sitting in a classroom right now, and they're thinking HVAC or refrigeration, or they're thinking carpentry or construction or food equipment service or whatever they might be thinking, and they're saying to themselves, am I going to be good at this? Am I the right fit for this? So you talk in the book, who are these good candidates to become part of this?
Yeah. So, my broad answer is everyone, but
Right.
obviously, that comes that's a little vague. But listen, there are some characteristics that distinguish good future tradespeople. Working with your hands, having a genuine curiosity for how things work, having a passion for helping people, for building things or taking things apart. Whatever, all of these are sure indications that trade work would be right up your alley. I talk a lot in the book, though, too, about as long as you're smart, as long as you have good common sense, you know,
Hmm.
most people can be trained how to do this if they start early enough, i.e., right out of high school. There are some
Hmm.
people who just don't have the physical capabilities, and that's okay.
Yeah.
There are other trades positions available that don't require that.
Hmm.
Um, but really, what the trades do is they help build those qualities, those fundamentals for success. Right? They help strengthen character. They help practice humility. They help just overall personal development. How about mentality? Your super sharp grandpa, right? That's always sitting there doing Sudokus, working with his mind. You know,
Hmm.
that's what tradespeople do every day,
Yeah.
using their mind and their hands. Every piece of equipment is one big Sudoku. I mean, it's not like it's
Right.
portrayed in the movies, right? To defuse the bomb, cut the blue wire. When you're stuck with
Yeah.
97 different blue wires, it takes real skill to know exactly which one to cut.
It's very true. Yeah. And so to go taking that into chapter 5, um, where I will let everyone know, page 115 is kind of where I started with this one. And with Father's Day weekend upon us, um, I wanted you to talk to me a little bit about your dad. Before we start to talk about how we enter the trades, how's your relationship with your dad today? Because I know mine is not how I wish it was, but because family businesses, they're tricky, and sometimes things happen. But how's your relationship with your dad? And talk to me a little bit about your dad.
I'm glad you brought that up. It's obviously the book is dedicated to him.
Yeah.
Because I credit him for giving me the opportunities that I have today. The relationship with my dad is fantastic. He's got such an old school mentality, and I've got a newer school mentality, and we really complement each other in that way. But I will say this: growing up, my parents divorced when I was very young. So, all through my high school career and earlier, I got to see my dad every other weekend. That was the extent. So, what is that? 26 times a year,
Yeah.
something like that I got to see my dad. So, growing up, it wasn't like we were in the same house. Going to my dad's was an escape for me. It was fun. It was a 2-day vacation every 2 weeks that I got to spend with him. So it actually it worked out. I don't know what forces in the universe pushed me towards this trajectory, but it worked out because I don't know what would have happened, right? If him and my mom would have stayed together, it may have been a completely different dynamic in the relationship. But I respect
Yeah.
him. I saw what he did. He never missed a weekend with me, and it was, so I've always been very close with my dad. Even when he moved out to Arizona to start working in the field, and I was still in California at the time, so that distance I was used to already. But when I got the opportunity and I came in and I went from seeing him every other weekend to barely seeing him at all when we were in different states, then to working every single day with him. It was almost an easy transition because it's almost what I didn't know that I was waiting for my whole life.
Yeah. Hmm. That's pretty awesome, man. So, how to enter the trades? Page 115. How do we enter the trades, and what's the best way to choose the right one?
Yeah. So entering the trades, you got two real routes. You've got the apprenticeship route, going right to a service company, knocking on the door saying, "Hey, this is something I really want to do," because I think you know as well as I do, we don't hear that too often. We have to go procure it, right? We have to convince people to come. So if there's an 18-year-old kid that comes knocking on my door and says, "Hey, I wanna get into this business," my ears perk up right away. I listen, because I respect it. We did have one kid that came in here. His name is David, and he still works with us. And he came right out of high school, wouldn't leave me alone. I didn't understand it. Right. This is before I knew I was going to write a book on that topic or anything. But a couple times a week, he would come in. "Hey, you got a job for me?" He'd email me. "Hey, I really want to work for you," and I didn't understand it. So finally I caved. I let him take out the trash. I mean, he was basically the janitor. And I said, "All right, this is it." We were in growth mode. We just didn't have the resources to train at that point. So,
yep, I get it.
Yeah. So, he worked his way up, man. He heard that somebody needed a part one day, and he threw his hand up. He said, "Let me go bring it to him." And I said, "All right, no problem." And then he went and brought it to him. And then he brought another part. And then he brought another part. And then I was like, "Oh, parts runner. Yeah, no, that makes sense."
Yeah.
And so he worked his way to a parts runner, and then started helping out with the grunt work and carrying stuff up ladders and stuff like that when he would drop off these parts. And so we ended up giving him a shot in our PM department. He, took him a little while. He was still green, obviously, but he retained everything he could. And he excelled at it. And now he's on our install team, installing 15-ton units on rooftops and refrigeration systems and the whole 9 yards. The kid's killing it. It.
Amazing. Yeah, see, that's just I love stories like that. These are because there are there's this perception as well out there of, oh, these kids today don't want to work. These kids they didn't do it have it like we had it. We were workers. There's kids out there that want to work. I mean, you found one in David. I found two here in Jamad and Connor. These kids have not called out one day this whole year.
That's amazing.
They're in every day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't get into the second way to get into the trades is trade school, obviously.
Yes.
And I think that's obvious to most. Some trade school lasts 6 months, some last 2 years. Either way, it's like a fifth of the cost of college, if not less, and usually that gets paid off the first year of work.
Yeah, and you're going to put that stuff to good use,
Yeah.
I mean, you're going to go to college and sit in, history and calculus and come out and say, now what? What do I do with this?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So, but so listen, we're going over to chapter 6, finding success, potential career tracks. You say the question isn't what the trades can give you, but what can't the trades give you?
Yes.
So let's talk a little bit on that.
Yeah, absolutely. So, the question that everybody gravitates to is, why would I choose a career in the trades? What can it do for me? And my argument is always, what can't it do for you? They just don't know the trajectories that are available within the trades. Everyone thinks trades. They think greasy, dirty, plumbers, wrenches, digging in toilets all day, whatever. But it's just not the case. Yeah, you put in that work, right? As a technician, you learn the fundamentals and you learn how to succeed at that. And then it can literally take you anywhere you want to go, mentally, physically, vocationally, just everywhere. You've got trajectories such as management, you've got entrepreneurship, you've got trade adjacent, right? And trade adjacent, let me clarify that. It's something that is closely related to the trades. I interviewed Aaron with XOI in the video, who runs a software company, who used to be in the trades, but he found a way to serve the trades by opening up a software company and providing a service that way. So even though he's not in the trades anymore, he found a trade adjacent career that has made him and his team wildly successful and really, really utilized. And then there's other things. There's teaching, there's training, there's just so many different directions you can take it that people they don't see past the wrenches.
Yeah, that is such a good point. And I just had a conversation actually with a really, really, really close friend of mine, thinking about new opportunities at this point in his life. And I told him, maybe want to be a refrigeration tech coming in, and if you could sit down with or ride along, with my senior techs, and we'll put you in some school so you get your EPA certifications, do all this stuff. I said, maybe 5 years from now, you're a Dynamo tech, 6 years, and you're saying, Rich, I'm ready to move on to some management and leadership roles. I want to be a key account manager. I want to train the new generation coming up. And we talk about training a lot here, opening up maybe some kind of a school within our business. And, you need people to do that. And
Yep.
so the opportunities are endless, like you said. It's true. So also, success is different to everyone. Talk about that in the book. What's the best way, I think, that one should think about their career goals? You mentioned a wheel of life, 8 spokes.
Yeah.
Want to clarify on some of that?
Yeah.
A little bit.
So first off, let me just say I can't take credit for the Wheel of Life. I don't know who came up with it, but Google really helped me find it. So,
Sure.
the wheel, but I really resonate with it because it's so true, right? The Wheel of Life, for those of you who don't know, it's a circle, and then it's divided into different sections, and each pie of that section represents a different part of your life or what you want to be successful in. So you've got financial, personal growth, mental, career, social, spiritual, family, health, whatever those pies represent to you. So you've got this circle, you've got the pies with the categories, and your job, in order to define success, is to equally shade all of those areas, those pies, to where it's balanced. Because if you're too high in one and too low in another, what's going to happen? That wheel's going to get thrown off balance, and you're just not going to be satisfied, or you're not going to be happy with where you are in life. So your goal is not all of them have to be filled 100%. They just have to be even. As long as they're even, you can build on all of them. And that's the concept behind the wheel of life is finding the correct balance, a career that can give you, or a lifestyle that can give you the correct balance so that you feel successful. And,
Yeah.
my obviously, my career in the trades has done that for me. And I'm
Yeah.
hoping it can do that for millions of others too.
Yeah. That's excellent. And also within this chapter, we talk about personal success. So, as human beings, we want to feel good about our health, wealth, family. How does the job, like being a food equipment service tech, have an impact on our personal lives and successes?
Oh man. Yeah, and this is one of those things I could just talk forever on.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
we talk about fundamentals, right, and how the trades and food service in particular can be rewarding and successful. You can make you feel successful. So there's a few things like, for instance, communication. Okay, when I was out in the field, I had to find intelligent ways to communicate with people, and I wasn't always the best communicator. I'm gonna put that out there.
Me too.
I did okay, but I mean, I would get defensive. I just didn't know how to project and convey my feelings, or information for that matter. But as I grew up, and as I was having these guys sign the tickets, as I was taking the phone calls saying, "Why did you do this? Why did I get charged this? What's wrong with the piece of equipment? Can you explain it to me differently? Because they're using a lot of jargon there. Like, I don't understand what you're saying." You're finding creative ways to communicate the information that needs to be communicated, and that has transferred to my personal life. I don't think anything else I could have done could have the same impact, because now I can articulate exactly what I'm trying to say to anybody around me, friends, family. I mean, my daughters. It helps me explain shit to my 4-year-old daughter. Because I already made the connections on how to communicate so that people can understand, whether they be 4 or whether they be 94. So that's a huge part of it. Work ethic, obviously. If you don't have work ethic in your career, then you're not going to have work ethic in life, your personal life, and you need that, right? Any family needs to work at at their relationships. So work ethic is huge. I mean, everything can be translated, to a personal setting for personal growth and personal success that's learned in the field.
Yeah, absolutely. Just want to stop right now and let everybody know again, Amazon. Blue is the New White by Josh Zolin. Go and pick up your copy. We're talking about it here today. There is a plethora of information in here, especially for those thinking about the trades. So let's keep it rolling here. Chapter 7. What do I do now? So I have here, first up, you say, talk to tradespeople. So let's go into the importance of getting as much info as you can before you start the journey.
Sure. Yeah. So I implore everyone to, and that's what this book is about, right? Is recognizing that this is a viable option, and so with that comes research. Talk to tradespeople. You've got the book. Read the book. Talk to Rich. I mean, you scroll through social media now.
Yes.
And
good point.
And it's not like it ever has been before. There are a lot of people out there that are putting the trades on social media, which is the kind of, it's the push that we need. Like you show a very broad aspect of the trades, everything, from how to be successful as a technician, what it means to be a technician, the behind the scenes business side of it, so that's intriguing because it gives you a full picture. There's also a lot of like HVAC techs and refrigeration techs and even cooking equipment techs now too, all over LinkedIn and stuff like that will show pictures of their work, of the job site, what they're doing. They'll explain it. This is what I found. This is what I replaced. Customers happy. So
yeah, and they're passionate about it, and they want to talk about it.
Yes, absolutely. And that's what we need, because that passion, and if you don't mind, I'd like to talk about the passion thing real quick.
Yeah, please.
So a big thing that we're hearing these days, right, is that you need to follow your passion, follow your dream. If you do what you love, you'll never work a day in your life. All right, but I'm going to call BS on that right now, because it's. Hey. Look, if you're one of the lucky ones and you land a spot as an Instagram influencer until you're too ugly to be on Instagram, then good for you. But I'm going to tell you right now, you're better off finding the passion in what you do. Okay, I'm not passionate about fixing fryers. I can't stress that enough. I do not like rolling around in grease puddles. It's not like I say, oh, hey, great, I get to go get a pizza dropped on my head one day. That's not it. I am passionate about helping people. I am passionate about walking into something that isn't working and then leave and know that it's now working because of something that I did. So figuring it out, putting the pieces together, that kind of thing. And then above everything else, I'm passionate about building something bigger than myself, which is what I'm doing here with WCE, And so am I passionate about fixing fryers and turning wrenches? No, I'm not. But I am passionate about what it can do for me, and I'm passionate about what it can do for everyone. So I needed to say that. I'm
glad you did. Thank you for saying that. That is so huge, because I think there may be a lot of people in the trades that think that way, but maybe they don't want to say it because they don't want to seem like they don't care about their business. But that's just not the case. And I agree with everything you just said, and I am the same way. I feel the same way. Wow. Yeah. Continuing on, page 163, we had a note to educators and parents. I don't know if I could grab this up here. Yeah, so you do have on page 163 a note to educators and parents. What are we telling the educators and parents listening right now that they need to hear?
Get out of your kids' way, and I don't mean to. I'm not trying to be an asshole. I'm really not. What I'm saying is that recognize that you don't know everything. Recognize that you may not even know what's best for your kids or the kids that you influence. And I'm not trying to slight anybody. I'm not trying to say that they're not smart. I'm just saying that, there has been a perception, over time that has led people to this thought process, educators and parents included. And you may think that you're pushing your kids towards success, but you may not be. And that's why I needed to put this book out, because if they don't know what opportunities exist, of course the kids aren't going to know what opportunities exist. All right. So this book, it's written in a way that resonates with the youth. So you can literally, you can pick up a copy of this book, read it, and if you agree with it, hand it to your kid, and hopefully it will resonate with them. But that's what it's designed for. It's a resource. It's not to call anybody out. It's not to say anybody's an idiot. It's just there to give you all the information in a way that's easy to understand. So yeah, my note to parents and educators is, wake up and realize that you may not know.
Exactly. Perfect. But perfectly said. And going right from there into the conclusion, page 167, we're talking about perception and reality, which we talk about a lot, and for a lot of different reasons. You have in here, life is short, do what's right for you. Getting into the conclusion of the book, what do we have to tell the high school students, the teachers, the parents? I mean, this is to everybody. Let's break it down one last time for all these naysayers out there. Give them a dose of reality.
Yeah. So life is short, okay? And I don't care what Seneca says. I know his book says life is long, but life is fucking short, and that's the bottom line. And because you look back and you wonder where the years went. I mean, I'm only 33 years old, and I still look back and I go, I really don't remember the last 10 years of my life. Yeah. Little things that stick out, the most important things stick out, but the time is now. You don't want to go through an entire college education, try your hand at a career that wasn't related to your major, only to realize that you fucked up back then and you could have done something about it. And that's really what sorry, is this language okay? I should have asked before the podcast.
Fuck yeah. Okay. You're good.
All right. So, but that's it. I mean, we have the opportunity right now. People just need to listen. They need to know, right? They need to know that this is the circumstance, that this is the reality. The perception is the perception, and that's all that it is. But as soon as you can educate yourself in the right way to know exactly what's all entailed in trade work, you'll be much, much better off, because if nothing else, at least you'll have the option in front of you.
Yeah. So that took us through the book. It's one of these things that is so necessary out there. There's no book out there like this at all right now that's breaking it down piece by piece. And it's not one of those books that are, 500 pages and you got to really dive in. I mean, this is just, it's a simple, easy read for everyone to understand and grab something from it. So closing out, we're just, I always love to continue to promote as much as we can. Food equipment service for us is very big on the cooking side, and also refrigeration and HVAC and dishwashing and food prep equipment, right? For us, that's our main staple here in the trades. And how I know we talked a lot about it, but just some final closing thoughts on how to encourage someone to just jump in, go for it, and try it.
Yeah, reach out. I mean, that's why we're doing this, right? That's why you're having me on the podcast. We want people to listen. We want people to see this. So the best thing that anybody can do if they want more information, there's a lot of information in the book. There is a lot of information in there, and it's a way to shift the mindset. But really, if you want to know more, reach out to Rich, reach out to me. Yes. I mean, and you know what? The beautiful thing about this is that we will teach you, and we'll be honest with you. If this isn't a fit, then we're gonna fucking tell you that, or at least I'm gonna tell them that.
Absolutely.
And at that point, then you have another decision to make. Continue on the trades. You could get into parts or account management or something that fits you better. Or if you want to go try your hand at college and you think that might be it, it's still there. It's
always going to be there, right? Exactly. It's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
So I guess that's it. We'll close this one out. We've been talking for quite a bit here. We said a lot, and what else is going on with Josh? Let's talk a little bit. 2 minutes about Josh. What's going on with Josh? Josh you're in Arizona.
Yeah.
Married, right?
Yep. Married.
How many kids?
2 kids. I have a 4-year-old daughter and a 1-year-old daughter. And
2
don't
girls.
ask me to try my hand at another one, man. I can't risk it. Can't risk it. No,
2
I love them to
girls.
death. Love them to
Of course.
death. They are
Of
fantastic,
course.
and I'd be beyond proud if they chose a career in the trades.
Yeah.
And I'm going to do my best to not necessarily push them, but really make sure that they know what kind of options are available. But yeah,
bring
it's
them in.
yeah,
Bring them
exactly.
in. When they get old enough, bring them in. Show them what Dad does. Show them what everybody does, and have them hanging around the shop, the warehouse, and
Yeah.
I'm the same thing for my nephew. I don't have kids, but I have my nephew Carson. When he gets old enough, I would love to have him here, seeing what Uncle Rich is doing, and if it's for him, it goes back to we talk self-awareness, and if it's for him, that I truly hope it's going to be for him, because I would love to see him sitting here one day doing this.
Yeah, and you know what? I mean, honestly, that's my life, my family and my work, and that's where I spend most of my time. I'm at the office at 4:30 every morning, leave at 5:30 every evening, spend the rest of the evening with my family, and get up and go do it again the next day, and that's what keeps me happy. Everybody's different, but I feel like that myself, my company, what you're doing, we're all really providing value to people in so many different ways, not only with our business, but with our words too,
Yeah, and it's super important. All right, listen, I really appreciate you doing this. And one more time, Josh Zolin, the author of Blue is the New White. You can go pick a copy up on Amazon. There it is right there. Here it is right here. And I promise you won't be disappointed. You're gonna find something you might not have known previously. So I appreciate it, brother.
All right. Thanks for having me, Rich, man. Always a good time.
Always. Thank you so much.